We're going fishing, Crimpy's Fishing Show.
It is News Talk CB. Happy Saturday morning and welcome once again to the Fishing Show with Crimpy. Mr. Darryl Crimp, good morning.
Morning, Regan. Nice to be here as per usual. Been a big bustling week this week, and there's certainly a lot happening around the traps.
There certainly is. I'm just still blown away by the picture you showed me on the email from Kaiteri for the 30-pound snapper that came out.
Well, that is the holy grail of snapper. I mean, many people go a whole lifetime without catching a snapper that's even close to 20 pounds, and 20 pound is a benchmark for a trophy fish. So if you go and catch a 20 pound snapper, that is a buzz. But to get a 30 pound snapper, not many people, recreational fishers, get out there and get a 30 pounder or even get to see a 30 pounder. But this week, caught off Kaiteri in a kayak, would you believe it?
Man, that must be hard because I guess you couldn't fight a fish side on like that.
Well,
in a kayak.
Well, I would liken it to trying to catch a big fish in a plastic bathtub. I can't understand why you would, but people do strange things. I think kayaking, though, I think it gives you a little bit of an edge. People that go kayaking. I mean, I've got a boat that's worth over $100,000, and I love it. But people who go kayaking, there's a certain stealth factor.
Well, you're so low to the water as well, aren't you? I mean, it's...
So what does that do? I mean, it makes you low to the water, but I'm talking about the fact that you can be really quiet and sneak around. What is it?
Oh, I'm talking...
Where are you going with low to the water?
I'm talking about the fact
like you're closer to the fish.
It's pretty much
so you
one-on-one.
Your idea is you peer over the side of a kayak and
there's
see...
a fish, grab it.
There's a 30-pound snapper. I just dropped the line there.
Yeah,
good skills, Regan.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that worked well for us, didn't it? Also in the bay, a marlin was hooked last week, believe it or not.
I don't even know why I turn up.
No, well, I don't either. I was about to ask you the same question. But moving right along, to find out more about the 30-pound snapper, who caught it, how and why and where, check out the next issue of the Fishing Paper. Next month we'll have the full story, but I can lead you on a little tip. It was caught on a mission kayak. So the man was on a mission.
Look at that.
A little bit of a pun there.
Yeah, right.
And they're sold by very good advertisers of the Fishing Paper, Smith City. So if you want to get the edge and you're thinking about getting a kayak...
If you want to get close to the fish...
Yeah, go and talk to Regan.
Hey, Marlin...
If you want to get close to a marlin, the place to be is off... It's all happening over Kaiteri, off Tonga, out that area where we've been getting the albacore tuna. Wade Maisie was out there catching some tuna for dinner, I assume. And all of a sudden...
I love that sound.
I know.
Yeah.
Sexy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when you got a marlin, a blue marlin attached to the end. Spooled them, took all the braid off the reel, and they didn't know what it was, and then saw something flapping on the surface. Thought it might have been a sunfish, so they went over to check it out. And here they called it a blue marlin, so I've got no idea. I assume that they were right. Big blue marlin flopping its sail on the top of the surface, and had his hook attached with the braid. When they got up to it, of course they had no idea what to do with it.
Yeah.
But it did a nosedive, disappeared into the depths. So it is still out there.
It is still out there, wow.
So I would like to see the first marlin caught in Tasman Bay. So if you have a penchant for being the first, conquering something, being an explorer, get out there, get some marlin lures, get out into Tasman Bay, find out how to do it, and get us a marlin. If you're not so adventurous, then the tuna are still titillating people off Tonga.
Yeah, there's heaps out there.
Oh, where is this show going? This is getting sad. But, yeah, plenty of tuna out there. It's finished off the west coast, so the commercial boys have moved in, so you might have trouble finding a bit of parking space out there. And if you're a shore-based fisherman, lots of rig being around. Now, I spoke at the... over in Blenheim at the Trout Fishing Club through the week. Met somebody who I've been corresponding with for some time, Vic Wysocki. If you're listening, Vic, nice meeting you the other day. Bit of a legend, bit of a hard case man. Keen on his fishing, keen hunter also, but he's spending time on the water. And he tells me that he's still getting plenty of rig. He's had over 60, 66 or something for the season. Started last September. They're still there. He reckons they'll still be around the top of the south right throughout possibly the year. Big ones, he's into catch and release, takes the barb off his hook. So if you're into land-based fishing, plenty of rig out there. Now, coming up in the show, we have the tides next, so if you want to know what's happening this weekend, but also a man who will tell you how to cook fish.
News Talk ZB, it is Fishing with Crimpy, and if you are heading out onto the big week today, you need to know what the tides are doing. So what are the tides doing, Crimpy?
In Nelson, the high tide is at 27 past 1 p.m, that's 3.9 metres. We're all looking around the middle of the afternoon, early afternoon. Havelock, high tide 13 past 1, 2.9 metres. Cressel's, your high tide is 12 past 1, so it's pretty close there, but that's a 4.2 metre. That's a huge jump. Stevens, high tide today at 10 to 1, 2.3 metres, another small one there. Westport, your high tide is 2:30 p.m, and that's a 2.9 metre. And look at this. Greymouth has popped up for the first time in the last 6 weeks with a high tide. Now, Regan, I don't know what it is, but we haven't had greymouth for some time. Have you got something against greymouth?
Not at all. I was born there.
Were you?
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
No, I just hadn't realised it.
So,
it
apologise to the people of Greymouth.
I
But
apologise to the people of Greymouth. I apologise about not you guys not having.
that's
a
enough.
tide.
I just said say sorry. High tide today in Greymouth is 18 to 3 p.m. That's a 3.1 metre tide. Now, I promised you how to cook fish. Coming up right now is Kevin Hopgood. Now, Kevin, if you're not familiar with Kevin Hopgood, he operates the leading restaurant in Nelson. Now, I can say that with good authority because I dined there the other night and it was absolutely superb. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Crimpy. Great to be here.
Now, you've been a guest of mine on numerous occasions, but we haven't spoken for quite some time.
That's right, Crimpy.
Not that I've gone off you at all, but
I was worried.
yeah, things have been pretty busy. Now, Hopgood's restaurant in Nelson, going well for you?
It's going well, Crimpy. 8 years of business now, and great local following, and it's going well.
So has that been 8 years since they threw you out of the UK?
That's
Since
right.
you were deported.
It was 8 years ago.
Time flies, doesn't it?
It does when you're having fun in Nelson.
You've been a chef for a long time. You did your training back in the UK in the 80s, early 80s. Is it become just a job to you, or do you still get a passion out of it? Because I sense the quality of the food. You must actually love it to be able to deliver that high quality on a regular basis.
I'm still super passionate about it, like you are about your fishing. I absolutely still love my job.
The treat for us, we went out for a meal there the other night, last week I think it was, and celebrating our wedding anniversary. And
congratulations!
I married. Thank you.
Congratulations, Annette.
Yes, I married. Commiserations, Annette. I married her on a birthday because I knew that if I married her on a birthday, I would remember one of them. Because women always say a month out or 3 weeks out from the birthday. Do you notice? I haven't mentioned my birthday this year. No, darling, you haven't, and don't. Anyway, cut to the quick. Annette really wanted you had. What was the tuna you had on there? It wasn't Big Eye.
It was Big Eye that
Big
night.
Eye, yeah, the special.
Yeah.
And of course, when we went to order it, because you kept us talking so long, it had all gone.
That's right. It sold out. We had some left for you.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
an appetizer, and that was absolutely sensational. So, what is it? What is your philosophy on cooking fish?
Well, just season it properly and not to overcook it. That's paramount with fish cookery.
Particularly with tuna.
Tuna, you want to leave it nice and rare,
Yeah.
A bit bloody in the middle.
Would
Yeah.
that be the same as every sort of fish? Do you want to leave like a little slither of rawness in the middle?
I definitely keep it that way, Regan.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly New Zealanders appreciate when you cook fish that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that applies to whitefish as well as the red meats like the tuna.
Definitely, something like group, you want it nice and translucent in the middle and not leaking out all that protein.
Okay. So talk us through the cooking process. You say leaking out protein. What happens when you overcook fish?
It just becomes dry and unpalatable. The snapper's a lovely fish, but you probably know yourself, if you overcook snapper, it's like eating cotton wool.
Not that I've eaten cotton wool. You've had an interesting childhood. Yeah, I can see why you were deported.
That's right.
So do you, I mean, at the restaurant you do you call it, I don't think you call it fine dining, do you?
I regard it as a sort of bistro style, casual dining more.
Get out of here, you're kidding me. To me that's really classy fine dining.
I think in Europe it'd be classed as bistro. In New Zealand it's more sort of fine
So
dining.
I haven't lived, that's what you're telling me politely. So what was
You're on the way.
Strike one. What's your background then? How were you trained?
I trained in the UK in the Mall, that runs parallel to the Palma, a place called the RAC Club, which is a very famous old gentleman's club, and it was just classical French cooking there.
Yeah. But what you do now is not classical French cooking. Or it is, it has influence.
No, it has influences on that, but it's just good local, simple cooking, I think.
We have to take a short break, but when we come back, some more tasty tips from the man himself.
It is News Talk ZB. Happy Saturday morning. It is Fishing with Crimpy. We've got Kevin Hopgood in the studio with us.
And I've just discovered that I may be cooking my fish just a tad too far. With the albacore tuna, I recommend to people that we've been cooking it sort of medium rare, but you're saying basically sear it and serve it rare.
That's what I'd certainly advocate that, Crimpy, definitely, yeah.
And that stuff you cooked up the other night was sensational. That was Big Eye, but I imagine the albacore would be the same.
Definitely, yeah, because it goes even dry. It's quite a white flesh fish, the albacore, isn't it?
Yeah. They call it chicken of the sea. I noticed too that the stuff that you dished up was sliced really thinly. Was there any reason behind doing that?
We're just running short, Crimpy.
Oh, yeah, good call. And here I was thinking we were going to get some erudite answer, some insight to how to cook your fish. You were running short. When I had my restaurant, Kevin, not that it was the class of yours, back in the 80s, and I didn't train in the mall or even the mall, I cooked up, well, it was a cacondra, I think they called it, which is a Fijian marinated fish, and I think there's another name for it.
Well, there's a version of that in South America called ceviche.
That's it. And it was new for the time in New Zealand then. People loved it. They absolutely went back for more until I told them that it was essentially raw fish. It's actually cooked by the marinade, by the acid. But have you discovered that there's a change in attitudes towards people's eating styles?
Oh, definitely. Most New Zealanders love sashimi or ceviche, sort of, the best thing, the fish out of the sea, and you slice it straight up and eat it with a bit of soy sauce and wasabi. You can't beat it.
Can you do that with all fish, or are there particular types of fish that are better suited?
There are definitely particular types of fish that are better suited. Some of them are a bit fibrous, but the majority you can.
So what's the qualities that you're looking for in a fish in terms of that makes it a good eating fish?
Sort of firm fleshed, nice colour. You've got good structure to the fish as well.
Give us some ideas for people that are maybe not proficient cooks. What can they do with fish? What do you do with fish that you would recommend people take note of?
Well, number one is, obviously, is the super freshness of the fish, but also just to season it before you actually cook it. People forget to season it with a bit of salt and lemon juice. Then simply, I like just barbecuing it. We can serve it with some butter beans, particularly something like groper with butter beans and crispy chorizo. It's a really nice way to go.
When you say seasoning it, do you not use pepper? You use salt and lemon juice, but what about pepper?
I don't use pepper so much, particularly with white fish, because it sort of it looks like little black speckles on the fish.
Oh, so you're an eye man. You go for the look.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, shallow.
Yeah.
I actually, when it comes to using fish, I like a bit of pepper, but I don't go for the cracked pepper.
Yeah.
I like the white pepper on fish, and I'm not sure why, but I think it actually it provides a bit of flavour.
I think you're probably right there, Crimpy. Yeah, it's a bit finer.
One up for me.
Yeah.
I scored a point.
Yeah.
Okay, the legend chef has agreed with something I've said. Woo! All right, what else have you got to offer? I see you bought a little notebook there.
Oh, just little ideas for the listeners. Brown butter goes particularly well with fish, and capers, lemon and parsley, all classic things.
It's sort of like a stock standard. Is that a stock standard that you learn in your trade, or because that's something that I've used in the past and it just seems to marry so well with the flavours?
Definitely, it's a stock standard. We've definitely done that in our repertoire in the past. It's classical cooking.
When you talk about brown butter, talk us through how you get that.
Well, you cook the butter and visually it starts to turn brown and sizzle, and then at that stage you need to get some lemon juice or some balsamic vinegar, something to stop the cooking as it will go black. Yeah. And at that stage it takes on a lovely nutty flavour, in which we add herbs and a bit of salt and some capers and just pour it over your fish and it tastes brilliant. Are
you an advocate of the school of thought that says keep it real simple?
Definitely, particularly with you don't want to let the fish, lovely fresh fish, you don't want to douse it in a million different things.
What doesn't work with fish?
I saw somewhere the other day had watermelon with salmon that sounded really terrible.
No, you got to admire them for trying, though.
That's right.
And okay, have you got any other tips you can share with us?
Just with your offcuts from fish. I mean, don't never waste any parts of the fish. Yeah. With the bones and the head, you can make a stock or a soup. With the little trimmings you get from the fish, fish cakes with the tuna, you can make lovely spicy fish cakes. With the white fish, you can make a nice normal leek and potato fish cake. Yum! And I'll tell you what, we had a treat the other day, just before we go. Rita came in, one of our regular readers, and bought some cupcakes that she'd made with crayfish. They were so good that the recipe is in next month's issue of the Fishing Paper. Kevin, been a pleasure talking to you. Time is gone. Thanks, Crimpy. Pleasure to be here.
Look forward to catching you again. So from now, it's bye from me.